You probably know about the concept of eating clean, like you know that junk food is bad for you and you should eat a diet made out of natural whole foods. But do you apply this rule to other aspects of your life? Because there is one that most people aren't even aware of, and this is the concept of information hygiene. 4 years ago, I was an average student. I would spend most of my free time scrolling and eating junk food. But I thought it was okay because everyone was doing that. But I really wanted to become an engineer. This was like my whole idea of my life. If I wasn't going to become an engineer, I'm going to be a failure forever. And my parents are not even Asian, it's just my own thing. And I always thought that other students were just smarter than me, like they were doing all this math and it was so complicated and I just couldn't keep up with it. My average grades were like C's and D's on math, like I almost failed math in high school, even though it was kind of on the easiest side. And I always thought it was because just I was stupider, like I was literally not intelligent enough to do this kind of tasks. And I thought that other students were better than me. My mental health would get worse with every single week. I would become more anxious, I wouldn't be able to sleep. And because these things were happening to me, I tried to distract myself by engaging in more scrolling and consuming more information, trying to convince myself that I was learning something. I was watching like educational videos on YouTube. I thought it was like useful for me to watch about something about science, even though it didn't help me with my math class. And soon enough it would become a terrible vicious cycle. I couldn't get out of it. I would spend most of my free time just consuming content online, and I also convinced myself that it was useful because I wasn't just watching some degenerate stuff like most people. I was watching educational content. I was watching things about like physics and NASA mission to Mars and stuff like that. I really liked that, but it didn't help me with my grades, and it certainly didn't help me improve my productivity. And then one day, because I was scrolling on YouTube, I saw a video on dopamine detox. And I finally realized the core problem that was happening to me. I needed to stop using social media. And so that day, I deleted YouTube. I literally didn't watch it anymore. And I took out a journal and I wrote my first journal entry. It was the 6th of November 2022. And that is the day I remember as the beginning of my real life. It really improved my life, and within the next couple of months I started getting much better grades. And by the way, at the time I was already in my first year of uni, so if I didn't log in back then, I would never become an engineer and I would basically flip burgers at McDonald's or something, which was utterly unacceptable to me. And soon enough my hard work started to yield results. It was insane how easy it was actually to get good grades. I started getting 18s instead of 8s, which is 18 in France is like essentially an A++. Like you cannot get much better than that. Getting a 20 is basically impossible, and getting a 19 is like God's work. So I was getting insanely good grades and I actually became the best student of my entire year. Like we were only 51 students in a year, but I was like, my rank was literally 1. I was the first. And it was electrical engineering. It was one of the hardest degrees out there too, so insane. All of that just because I stopped scrolling on social media and I started doing productive habits instead of it. I started journaling, meditating for my mind. I also started hitting the gym, which is also very useful for your mind. If you're a nerd who sits at home all day and just kind of studying, if you don't go to the gym, your mind is going to be at like maybe 40% its capacity. You really need to exercise, otherwise your body is not going to be able to produce the right molecules for you to essentially work. And also fix your diet. You cannot just be on eating ramen noodles all day long. You know, like this stereotype of engineers making a startup or something and they're eating noodles. Bro, your brain is gonna shut down if you eat this way. You really need to fix this diet. Well, I digress. The point of this video is that consuming even educational information may actually be very detrimental to your productivity, even if it's linked to what you're actually studying. So, for example, I really wanted to get good at math and physics, so I was watching videos on things like orbital physics and I was playing Kerbal Space Program and all of these science-based games. But at the same time, these things were distracting me from real work because my dopamine system was overloaded. Essentially, I really enjoyed launching rockets in the game, but I really hated doing calculations in the math class, so I didn't study well enough. And that was what held me back for so long. And I really hope that it doesn't happen to you, or if it did, you can get out of this because it's really deceiving. You cannot really just consume all of this educational content and learn engineering by yourself. It's gonna give you some basics. It's gonna give you maybe motivation to become an engineer, but if you cannot put in the work in actual studies, if you cannot sit down and solve the problem on paper without playing a video game, you're not gonna move forward in life. So stop consuming even educational content. If you're addicted to educational content, stop consuming it, especially if you're consuming random ones too, because I wasn't only watching videos on engineering. I would watch videos on history and naval strategy. Like there's a guy called Drakenifil or something. He would talk about naval battles, and I would basically nerd this thing out too. So I was so distracted by watching all of this stuff. So I stopped. And actually, one day I also realized that I should really reconnect with nature. Like I had made my weird nature arc, but once again, I digress, my ADHD brain. The simpler your life is, like I'm not advocating for like modern minimalism. I think modern minimalism is kind of lame because it's basically people living with just their mattress in an empty room. I don't think it's good for your mental health. I think you should have a real room, or you should live in the forest. Like I think natural minimalism is much better than modern minimalism. But again, once again I digress. So I've got a question for you. Why do you think scrolling on social media is free? Like you don't have to pay a subscription to go on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. You just go there for free. Nothing is required of you. You don't even need an account most of the times. And these are big, smart businesses. Why would they give out something for free? Or is it really free, or are you paying with something else? You see, in Russian we've got a very interesting saying. It basically goes along something like, the free cheese is only found in the mouse trap. That's the thing. Social media is making you pay with your most precious resource. It's your time and attention. In the modern day, it's an attention economy. Social media companies are paying the best software engineers in the world to make the most addictive algorithms possible. They try to make you as hooked as possible because that's gonna bring them money for your attention, because they're selling ads or they're stealing your data, like Facebook, for example. So it's not really free. Like if you ask a random white girl in your class to show you her screen time statistics, like it happened to me. I did this to a friend of mine, and I really wanted to see how many hours she was spending on her phone, and it was 9 hours a day. 9 hours. Like literally, aside from school, most of your waking time is literally spent on phone. Like if you sleep 8 hours a night, it means you've got 16 hours left. Let's say you spend 7 hours in school. What does it leave you with? 9 hours. You spent all of your free time on your phone. And then by curiosity, I wanted to see my own screen time too, and I opened it on my phone, and it was like 2 hours. And I was like, haha, my screen time is so much lower than yours. And then I came home and opened my computer statistics, and it was 8 hours a day. I would literally spend more time on my screens combined than that girl. It was insane how much time I was wasting. And that is truly terrifying me. People spend most of their lives on social media, and 99.99% don't even earn any money from it. You're just kind of working for free, feeding your brain all of this useless information, and also making you anxious, because these algorithms are designed around anxiety. Anxiety is probably one of the most addiction-inducing emotions. Like you become anxious and you want to come back. That's what they do. They alternate between the content that you like and which creates positive emotions with content which creates anxiety and negative emotions, or even anger. And then you come back because you're like this little rat who presses the lever that gives it a random reward. There was basically this experiment where there was one rat in the box who could press a button that would give them exactly the same amount of food every time, and there was a different rat who would press the lever the same way, but now randomly it would either give it some food, nothing, or give it an electric shock. And guess which rat stayed the longest pressing the fucking lever? It was the one which was pressing the lever which would shock it occasionally. So addictions are created because there is a randomization, essentially gambling. There is a random reward, you don't know what's coming next, and when you're scrolling on social media, you don't know which short or which reel or TikTok you're gonna get next. So you wanna oh, maybe the next one is gonna be good. Like, are you a rat? This behavior disgusts me. It disgusts me especially because I wasted hundreds of hours of my own life doing this. I wasted my best years too. It was high school. I could be playing outside, I could be getting better at sports, I could be climbing mountains or spending time with friends and with girls. Instead, I would scroll. I'm so glad I quit social media. And it also made the most energetic person in my entire group. I'm gonna tell you a story. A couple of weeks ago, we went to the northern coast of France in Normandy, and there was this huge cliff that was hanging over the English Channel, and on the other side of the cliff, there was this nice hills full of grass. And while everyone in my group was kind of just lazily going up, I would run up and down, back and forth. I would literally just run for fun. Then I found like a German bunker which was abandoned from World War II, which would give a nice panoramic view over the whole coast. And I would get inside through a small hole, and everyone would like tell me to not get in there. They were like, no, it's dirty and stuff. I wouldn't care. I would just go down. And 10 seconds after I got inside, everyone wanted to get inside too. Then I came out and I decided that I found a new interesting idea, and I actually started rolling down the hill. Like I obviously wouldn't roll towards the English Channel because there is like a 100-meter fall, so I would die, but I would roll the other side, and I would just roll in the grass like a kid. And everyone was laughing at me until one guy was like, yeah, I'm gonna roll too. And they were like, oh, that looks fun. And they all ended up rolling down the hill. So they wouldn't do this unless I like gave an example of how you actually have fun in life. Most people don't know how to have fun. Most people think that it's childish to climb trees and roll down hills and go up, climb mountains, but to me it's just how people are supposed to entertain themselves. It's not by scrolling and making this fucking nasal nose like, yeah, that's funny. This is how people have fun nowadays, really? Insane. Your life is gonna become so much richer in nice experiences that you're gonna remember forever if just you stop engaging in this cancer, which is social media and short form content. I don't make short form content. I made like maybe one short and I'm probably gonna take it off my channel, but just because I don't respect it. I don't respect short form content. It's just me, like, I know it's gonna bring people to my channel, it's gonna bring new viewers, but I just cannot stand it. When you don't even decide what kind of information you consume because you just take, it's called a feed for a reason, because it's feeding you things that it decided you should eat. It's like this big mama which is gonna, oh come on, eat more cereal. Of course, be respectful towards your mother, but my mother never fed me like cereal this way. She always fed me good things for my health. But imagine like this evil mechanical mother who is feeding you stuff like with a spoon. Come on, eat. Stop consuming this. Just stop. Your life is gonna become much better. Okay, enough ranting, enough rambling around. I've been talking for way too much. My throat is sore too, so I really hope this is gonna help you, and I'll see you in the next one.